And find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I'm just riding, siding. Let's take a little trip. CMG and K, and we fist to make a grip. Coming straight from out the O, so you know that we got the funky trackers fat. But anyway, it's my turn, so let me introduce special one. First up from the gangster crew, known as CCD, with the title and the rep. It's quite apparent. Serving funky hits to keep your punk tricks staring. Pump it up, Mac hits for your ears. Kicking loud and clear, making floor disappear. Hitting donuts in a tray sideways. To the next like triple gold things and the kids tight. 5 deep, mobbing through in the town. Deuce tone gangster flake with the top down. Damn, the hits hitting hard in the truck. Got me 3-wheel switching on them is on the next block. Headed straight to the
Be a
top.
little bit long.
And as long as my skills pay
you
the
know,
bills, I'm a
bars.
stop.
Welcome into your entertainment news update with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope that you are having an amazing Thursday. Pray for Southern California right now. Funky Expedition. That's what it looks like out there. It looks like some type of war zone. You know, I hate to use that reference, but it really does look like mass destruction in certain areas of LA. So, you know, if you're out in LA, be safe, wear your mask up. Andy got on me about walking in here without my mask the other day. You were, and you were correct.
I didn't get on you.
You reminded me
yes.
that my lung health is a priority, especially considering how my voice, once these fires broke out, seemed to vanish with all of the collective particles that are in the air. So wear your mask up, hug your loved ones, say your prayers, and be thankful if you were in someplace safe with your family, friends, chosen family, whatever. Yeah, it's rough out here, but we are here to give you a bit of escapism with our entertainment news update, and we're going to get into some things, you know, coming up today. We're going to be diving into a hot topic, Black nepotism. It has been circulating around for the past few months, you know, Blue Ivy Carter performing alongside Beyonce at the Beyonce Bowl, the Christmas Day NFL game. Also, Bronny James, we know, but I think that there's a deeper layer that we can discuss with that because recently there's been a few other children of celebs that have been discussing the backlash that nepo babies are receiving. So we're going to get into that. But before we get into that, you know, we have some conversation starters, just some things to get us flowing and get us going. We mentioned the fires, and there's been 50 billion, their estimates, dollars worth of damage across LA County. And there's several celebrities that have lost their homes throughout this. There's a lot of people that have lost their homes, and we pray for all of them, but this is an entertainment show, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, she lost her Malibu retreat. Jhené Aiko, she announced that her family lost her home, and she received some pushback because a lot of people feel like, especially the areas, Palisades, Altadena, Pasadena, that these are wealthy areas and that insurance will cover it. We aren't worried about it. They aren't worried about it. And that there are real people out here struggling. But, you know, there's all types of families in these areas. And no matter what your income bracket is, losing a home is devastating. Something you've worked hard for, something you've invested in, shared memories. So I think people need to be a little bit more sensitive. Andy.
And also all the hood babies that got bust all the way to Palisades Charter High School, Palisades Dolphins, you already know what it is. I know it was a rich area, but for some of us, you know what I mean, that was our school. There was a lot of memories that was there present. So, you know, it's sad. It's sad for, you know, the non-rich folks too.
It really, really is. So, you know, Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, they had to evacuate. Um, Bozoma St. John, she's on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's the former CMO of Netflix. She lost her home. And Marlon Wayans looked at it from a deeper perspective. He shared a photo on Instagram and said that this has got me thinking spiritually to all my friends, family, agents, etc. This ain't Hollywood burning, it's a rebirth. This is rinsing our souls of all the devastation we have endured over the past 5 years. COVID, strikes, fires, etc. This moment we come together as an entertainment community. So I thought that that was a beautiful message. We'll get more into the entertainment community with our conversation on Black Nepo babies when we come forward. You are locked in to KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You okay?
I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha, Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader, Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So before we get into this conversation, you know I love to hear your opinions and thoughts. So 800-920-1580 if you want to join the conversation. The YouTube chat has already got it started. Before we even came on air, they were in there discussing the topic. So we're talking about Black nepotism, and if it's a good thing in the entertainment community, right? Because there's been a lot of conversation around it. And, you know, it's interesting because nepotism, as far as entertainment goes, is something that has been around for quite some time. And it seems as if, I think it was in 2022, I can't remember what outlet, but they referred to it as the year of the Nepo baby. And for me, it feels like as there is a rise in front-facing, prominent Black celebrity children, now there seems to be more conversation about it being a negative thing, perhaps, or even from our own community, having quite a bit of conversation to say about it. So, as nepotism is defined by Webster's dictionary, it is a person who gains success or opportunities through familial connections, right? And it was New York Magazine, by the way, that crowned 2022 the year of the Nepo baby. So let me just give you a couple examples. Obviously, we talked about Blue Ivy, being on stage with her mother, getting training as a performer. Would she, at that talent level, have gotten that opportunity if she was just an aspiring dancer? It's in who you know. But she's there and she's putting in the work, and we see the improvement through her process. We talked a lot about Bronny James, if he would have made it there or not. I mean, the 55th pick isn't exactly the top of the draft. So, and there's lots of Nepo babies running around the NBA currently. If you think about it, one of our favorites, Steph Curry, Nepo baby. Klay Thompson, by, the definitions that we talk about. Rick Brunson's son, Jalen Brunson, Nepo baby. Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, we can go on and on and on as far as it comes to the NBA. There's even been conversation as far as the professional league goes that it's kind of turning into a Nepo baby league. And maybe that is some of the reason why some of the grit, in some's opinion, has been lost from the NBA game. That's a conversation for another day. We'll get into it. But, I just wanted to set it up with that. Now, let me go back because, as I said, the chat is already on this. They've been chatting it up on this topic. M. John Jordan said, yes, we should embrace it. We have to protect our artworks and culture. Nepotism may be the vehicle to do so. I think that's an interesting take on that. Because, we'll get into why I think it's an interesting take in a second. DJ Black 909, good evening to you. He says, as we should, if the white folks are getting their kids' foot in the door, so should we. I agree, Andy.
Just like any other family business, right? Once the parents are done, the kids take over. That's how I view it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a thing. Hi, Fahima. Thank you so much. I do sound much better. It was all the tea. I told you guys I wasn't sick. I don't receive that. Don't put that on me. It is just the bad air quality right now out there. But, let's see. DJ Black 909 also says, more successful Black folks perform nepotism. Set your kids up for success like the white folks do their kids. Agreed. Dobie B says, it's nothing new. Where did you people come from? Terry says, it is natural to help our kids and friends. Mimi Brown says, white people created nepotism. I'm all for Black nepotism. I look at it as a hand up instead of a handout. I agree, but there's been a lot of backlash. And though we say this in theory, when we see it in action, are we as supportive? I highlighted the conversation around Blue Ivy, and people critiqued her really, really hard. And, I split the difference with that because on one hand, if you are performing, right, on a high professional level, there's going to be some conversation about the performance that you put out. That is just the nature of the game. That is part of the entire situation in being a performer of any type. Criticism comes with that. I understand that she is a young child, and so we should tread lightly. But if this is an arena, Beyonce endured some boos at a young age herself, right? That is part of the game. Same thing with Bronny James. But why is it, and let me make a clear distinction, because I know some of the problem with nepotism is the idea that they not only that they didn't work for the opportunity, but that they are not talented enough for the opportunity that they are receiving. Now, while that can be subjective in some areas, right, I do understand that if someone is perceived as not being talented, maybe not good, you are going to question how they got that role. much like in a conversation we had a couple of days ago, not really involving nepotism, but people, if they don't feel your accolades match up, they're going to ask questions. But I do think it's interesting that people like Tracy Ellis Ross, whose mother is an international superstar. I'm not sure how much pushback John David Washington has gotten, or his son Malcolm. I'm not sure if people have thrown shade at them. I know that there's been a little bit of conversation, but I don't see the type of negative commentary around those type of figures as we do around LeBron and Beyonce's offspring and some of the others. You know, Zoe Kravitz has certainly endured her share of negative conversation and feedback on that front, but it is interesting to me how we talk about, I'm rooting for everybody black, but then when the things that we strive for, the things that we say that we want to support, the things that we say we are for, when we see them in action, all of a sudden it's boo. They didn't put in the work. Boo. That's not how it's supposed to go down. It's not fair. I mean, it's not. A little bit, but life is not fair. And these are the things that you want to do for your own family. You want to be able to call your homie that works at corporate position number 33 and say, hey, my nephew, just graduated, good kid, hard worker. Can you refer him to something? And you want that to happen, right? That is almost an expectation, because that's how we get by in life. Everybody loves a referral. Everybody does, right? So why is it when we see someone that we know, especially if we're looking at people like, now I know people have their mixed emotions on Beyonce. They feel she grew up middle class, so they question what level of struggle she went through. I do have a question though. Why is it the black experience always has to be defined by a certain type of struggle? Why is it that we only find the respect if you had to, and again, I'm not saying it's not worthwhile. I'm not saying it's not understandable why we respect those that have made it out of the mud. I am asking for the ones that have made it out of the mud and extend that to their offspring to give them the life that they wanted, the life that we strive for. Why do we then turn around and penalize those individuals for having done that? It is, you know, an interesting set of circumstance. And it also is interesting on who we cast that on, because I just laid out a couple of examples that don't get the Nepo baby tag thrown on them, right? So is it a question of talent? Is that really what it is? And people feel that at this stage, maybe not forever, maybe not for life, but at this stage that Blue Ivy and Bronny, for example, are not ready for the opportunities that they are being given. And so therefore people are unhappy with it. Is it that? Andy?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to speak on Bronny. I don't know too much about Blue Ivy, but I will say that I do think that Bronny's getting a lot of heat. Although when you do watch Laker games and he comes into the game, I mean, the arena's going crazy, right? They want him to
let's
score,
not
right?
Forget the number of jerseys that Bronny sold, initially outselling the number one draft pick with his Laker jersey run. Like,
I didn't even know that.
Let's just put that out there. I mean, I don't know if it still was that, but this was initially around the time of the draft.
I think a lot of the heat is on LeBron, because I've heard from some people that this was LeBron's dream,
probably
not necessarily Bronny's. If LeBron didn't put it out there that, oh, I want to play with my sons, who knows what type of recognition Bronny would have got, you know what I'm saying, throughout high school and on the way to college. For all we know, he probably would still be at USC right now.
USC playing with video games with FaZe Clan, because I really feel like that's his first love. Not that he doesn't love basketball, but anyway, that's a side conversation. I don't know. I am not saying that has any factual bearing. Let me be clear about that. That is just a random observation I made one day, like, oh, he looks super happy when he's playing video games and doing the FaZe Clan college kid stuff. Not that he didn't want to be in the NBA, but, you know, this is a side note, but playing with your dad has got to be rough. especially as a rookie in the NBA. You may want to feel your NBA isms. Granted, the money aspect might not be as exciting for Bronny because he has grown up wealthy. Even though his dad got it out the mud, he has grown up a child of privilege. Like, trust and believe, Bronny James in that aspect has more in common with your Tracy Ellis Ross's, Drew Barrymore, or those types than he does with the average kid. However, he still has a father who talks about being cheap and how he's thrifty and fiscally responsible. So, I mean, I don't know why we give it so much, well, not we, but why it gets so much venom.
You know why?
Why?
Because we're jealous.
Listen.
We're jealous. We want to be able to give to our children and our offspring what LeBron James or what Beyonce and Jay-Z can do. You know what I'm saying? They're just in a different position that most of us aren't. And there's some jealousy being played. And
there is a Nepo baby that alluded to that. I mean, because when you think about it, do Jaden Smith, right, and Willow, do they get called strange? They're talked about they're odd maybe for their behavior, but do they get the same Nepo baby conversation around them? You know, it's surprising the number of people that pop out as Nepo babies. Stephen A. Smith, his daughter wanted to be an actress. Stephen A. Smith's daughter was featured on the Best Man series that was on Peacock last year. She played Harold Perrineau and Regina Hall's daughter, I believe. Or was it Morris's daughter? One of the characters, she played their teen daughter. And speaking of Harold Perrineau, his daughter, Aurora, is an actress. She played Jim in Jim and the Holograms. And she was in When They See Us and Truth or Dare and Westworld, right? But we don't hear much conversation about her. And then we think about the classic people. Michael Douglas, Gwyneth Paltrow, I mentioned Drew Barrymore, old school actors, Kiefer Sutherland, Nicolas Cage. They're all Nepo babies. But this, and I'm not saying they never endured the conversations, because I remember some of those individuals, Nicolas Cage being one. That's the whole reason why he's not using the Coppola last name, because he didn't want to, you know, people to look at him that way. You look at someone like Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, they didn't want to use their father's last name because Martin Sheen, because of the same thing. So it's something that happened. Mel B's oldest daughter, she's a DJ. She talked about it. She said that the term has become increasingly toxic. She said, even when Nepo babies are great at their job, and many are, they face a backlash fueled by misunderstanding, jealousy, like you pointed out, Andy, and resentment. She acknowledged that having Mel B as her mother has opened up doors, but she says that, you know, her mother worked really hard and she wouldn't have the life she has if it wasn't for the hard work that her mother put into her own career. So she said not to respect that would be crazy. So, you know, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the jealousy aspect of it. And that's a hard conversation for us to have as a community, because it requires a bit of accountability around something that we may not want to come face to face with.
We also respect trauma.
Yes.
And you know what I'm saying? We're attracted to trauma. So, you know what I'm saying? When we see somebody doing good and they're giving back to their family, that jealousy gonna pop up whether they want to admit it or not.
I mean, it is true. Instead of saying, you know, and maybe not in the same way. I understand we're not all set up like, you know, to say, hey, I would like my son to come and work in my company and under me and give him a guaranteed contract. We're not all set up to do that. But there are things, extensions, the idea of such that we could extend in our own life, in our own families, and, you know, build and have things to take over. I saw an interesting take. I can't remember what I was looking at and who I should attribute it to, but they said part of the reason why the conversation around Black celebrity nepotism is happening now and there's so much debate is because in the past we haven't had as much ownership as we do right here, right now, today. You think about like Magic Johnson's children and what they are potentially set up to receive in the future.
Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Sanders, yeah. I mean, we've seen him earn it and put in work. Shedeur wasn't looked at early on. Really, he was, but not in the way that he has over these past 2 years, right? And we're going to see what it do when he goes to the NFL. And there's more coming behind. They have a daughter that plays volleyball and hoops. Well, no, I think she just hoops now. So there's all types of ways, and I love to see it personally. Listen, when we come forward, we'll have more on this topic, more trending topics and headlines, of course. And obviously, if you have any input, jump in the YouTube chat or give us a call, 800-920-1580. We always appreciate the good word for you. Coming up, news, traffic, and sports on the other side. Thank you for staying locked in to KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for some brothers in a Cadillac. Yeah, we on point, rolling in a point. Special one at CMG, blazing up a orange, keeping a steady pace in the car race, sliding on a strip with a grip and an eighth in my glove case. Never leaving a trace, believing the 5-0's blind, cause you know I'm conscious of these tricks of mine. Rolling lit with the tent shed shallow, and I'll be back around the block for brothers to jack tomorrow. From East Oak to the beat town, looking for a freak now, with hella scratch to get at. Check it, CMG on a mission.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Nearly 400,000 people in Southern California are facing evacuations as uncontained wildfires kill at least 5 and destroy thousands of structures. Officials warn the death toll may rise with further searches. Investigators are revealing the New Year's Day attacker in New Orleans built 2 bombs with RDX, a powerful explosive, but they failed to detonate. The attacker killed 14 and injured over 30 by driving a truck into a Bourbon Street crowd before being killed in a shootout that injured 2 officers. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who's facing federal corruption charges, delivered his State of the City address highlighting safety improvements, affordability efforts, and proposed tax cuts for low-income residents. And the state funeral for former President Carter concluded with speeches from President Biden, Carter's grandson, and Stephen Ford. Carter, who passed away at 100, will be buried in Plains, Georgia beside his wife. All 5 living presidents attended. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
We're going to look at some slow traffic in Mid-City. This is on the 10 eastbound, delays away from La Brea. Heavy ahead, better by Western, and then slowing in downtown from the 110 to the 5. Let's also check out Santa Clarita, 14 northbound, crowding up off of the 5 all the way to Soledad Canyon Road. The very tough spot right now continues to be served up on the 101 northbound. This is away from Lindero Canyon Road out of Westlake Village all the way into Oxnard. You're on the brakes and stretches that whole stretch. The northbound side of the 23 also loading up from the 101 as you make your way towards Olson Road.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store and everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusion supply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA postponed the Lakers game tonight at Crypto.com Arena because of the wildfires in Los Angeles County. The Lakers were scheduled to play the Charlotte Hornets. No makeup date was announced. The Lakers are in town for their next 8 games. They're scheduled to play San Antonio Saturday night at Crypto. Lakers coach J.J. Redick was renting a home in Pacific Palisades, one of the hardest hit areas damaged by the wildfires. Redick's family was evacuated on Tuesday while the Lakers were on the road. The college football playoffs is making history tonight. Notre Dame and Penn State are meeting in the semifinals at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The game features 2 black head coaches, Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman and Penn State's James Franklin. One of them will be the first black head coach to advance to a national championship game in football. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
leader. Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
City of the angels, spread your wings for me. I've been other places now, looking for my dream. Eastern cities move too fast, southern ones too slow. I can't go back to my past, and I need someplace to grow. City of the angels, clear your cloudy skies for me.
What a beautiful, Andy, you are always right in the pocket. You know how special that is. We love it. Better come with this. Soliloquy for the City of Angels. We need it right now. You are locked in to KBLA Talk 1580 with Jill Munroe, here with your entertainment news update. Shout out to the YouTube chat. They are still in there bubbling with tons of conversation. Shout out to Mackie Samuels. Thank you for welcoming me back. It feels so good to be back. So let's continue with our conversation about Nepo babies and if it's a good thing for the Black community. You know, I also was thinking about, as I'm thinking of more examples, Chris Paul had his children in his State Farm commercials. He has been doing those State Farms commercials for years. That means that his children are going to eat off of those residuals for quite some time. No outrage. Nobody's mad. You know? So again, we have to look at who gets the shade and potentially why. But I also think, keeping it 100, as we said, if you are just stepping into your talent, your area of choice, and are still in the learning phase, are on the further side of the growth process, the early side, not the further side, the early side of the growth process, and you were taking these things public, as I said earlier, expect some pushback, expect some critique. You got to thrive anyway, but, don't give it as much attention. For most of the time and most things, we used to say Beyonce to the BS, right? I know it was Stevie Wonder at one point, but then it became Beyonce because she never addressed things. So I think that, we could get into that, but these are, for the most part, I mean, Bronny is obviously of age now, but a lot of times we are dealing with children that are under 18 years old. So sensitivity, but acknowledging that the real world is the real world, and people are going to have comments. They're going to have commentary. I mentioned that this isn't the only area that we've seen nepotism in and, have done things to course correct, right? Just in December, the New York City had to give a $30 million settlement because of racial discrimination in their fire department. And it had to do with the inspectors and the pay discrepancy. 70% of that workforce is Black. And, it wasn't moving right. And there were family members of other hues that were getting in and advancing while the predominant race seemingly was missing out on these opportunities. So, I don't know. We look at that and we're like, that's not fair. They should be penalized. I think it's just balance. A referral does not mean an instant job. And just because someone comes in via a referral or family doesn't mean that they aren't talented and that they don't deserve the opportunity. So that's it on that. Let's get into some other topics here because there's still so much going on, even as we are pushing through with the devastation of the fires and the various people losing their homes. The Critics' Choice Awards was supposed to take place this weekend. That event has been postponed until later this month, along with, as Andy mentioned, the Laker game tonight versus Charlotte. I'm sure there'll be other things that are, going to be put to the side or a pin in it while we deal with that. But SZA, we've been talking about SZA a lot lately, and we know she and Kendrick Lamar are headed out on tour later this year. She was on a recent episode of The Sherry Show, and she was asked about the possibility of a full album with she and Kendrick Lamar, a collab album. And her response was, I would love that. I think that would be amazing. He is such a genius. I personally would love it too. Whenever they collaborate together, it is amazing. We obviously talked about Luther earlier this week when we were talking about the Luther Vandross documentary. That song is pure gold. What else? There's the something else that is on Gloria. Yeah, that's what it is. That is on GNX. And then, of course, we have their previous collaborations that they've done. The reissue of SZA's album has a song with them together. So I feel like them teaming up together to do an album, I know it's early because she just dropped a re-release of hers with a couple of extra cuts, and he just dropped GNX. But I would love to see it. All the Stars was another banger that they did together. That was on the Black Panther soundtrack. Of course, 30 for 30, that's the song that is on Lana, the re-release of her album.
I'm curious to know, when was the last time we had a R&B artist and a hip-hop artist collaborate on an album together?
Do you count Drake and Future? I know Drake is a rapper, but I'm just, I don't know.
Yeah,
Janae and Big Sean.
Big Sean, okay.
What was that called? 2020 or 2020 88? That album was actually fire. That had some bangers on it. So, we haven't really had a male-female collaboration thing. Like, we had Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell back in the day. I would like to see it. I would love for them to rock out and do a project together when they come off tour, because I know that the tour is going to be amazing. So, let's work. Let's put that TDE love together and get it popping. When we come forward, I have more trending topics and headlines for you, because there's so much happening in the world today of entertainment. I have a Keefe D update for you. He's always talking. He's always running his mouth. And I have a little bit of relationship news to share with you. All that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill. No, you're locked into the Entertainment News Report. But shout out to RSVP. That's our roots here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Are you facing an unexpected financial emergency? You need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com could help you get up to $3,000 fast. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Go to the name you trust, WeFixMoney.com. If you need emergency cash up to $3,000 for bills or anything else, type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And I thought of another Nepo baby that never gets the title, Sanaa Lathan. Her dad is a director. He, legendary stuff. Stan Latham, Martin, a bunch of other things, and nobody talk. Well, people know, and it's acknowledged, but I'm saying no one criticizes Sanaa and says that she got into the industry strictly based off of the fact that her father was already there. Nobody says that. I mean, listen, we can even go really throwback. Holly Robinson Peete. Her dad was on Sesame Street. So, I mean, it's always been there. We just may not have known or been aware. And maybe it's not something that we could talk about.
I didn't know about Sanaa Lathan. So I think because, I don't know, but I just feel like the star power of Sanaa Lathan's father probably was just not like on a Beyonce, LeBron level.
But here's the thing, her dad was even more so. She's an actress. Her dad was a director for film and TV. He was a producer and director for Real Husbands of Hollywood. Let's see what else. Soul Man, Moesha, Martin, Amen, The Parkers, The Steve Harvey Show. Going back since the 80s. Now, you're right. We, the general public, doesn't know that, right? Or may not have been aware. But that's a powerful position. And those are tentpole. Some of those are classic Black shows. So having your dad as a director certainly is helpful, right? But people don't talk about it that much. So, I'm just saying, we pick and choose sometimes, and we need to get over it a little bit. So listen, Pretty Brown Mimi says, yes, Holly's dad was Gordon on Sesame Street. Right. So boom, see, there it is. But we don't think of those type of things necessarily all the time. I mean, back in the day, well, people talked about it. Rockwell, he didn't even use his Gordy last name for Somebody's Watching Me, and he was a Gordy. He had Michael Jackson on the background vocals. Surely that was a Nepo move. How many people had their debut single with Michael Jackson singing on the backup?
Where's his career now?
I mean, yeah, but the point is he got a shot. That's my thing, right? He got a shot. There's somebody else that's like, I could have sang that. Mike could have backed me up and I would have known what to do with it. But they didn't have the connections or the network, right?
I hear what you're saying, but now that we're talking about this little piece, at the end of the day, if you're talented, you know what I'm saying?
Cream will rise to the top.
The cream will rise to the top. So, Bronny, we supporting you. We hope you do well.
Bronny had a 20-point game, like two of them, a couple weeks in the G League.
In the G League, no disrespect.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Listen. Every year there are another 60, 70 guys that are dropped into the pool of NBA players, and only the strongest survive. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, it's no different than, when you're applying for a job and they ask you that question, do you have any relatives that's worked here, right?
Right.
Because if that's the case, you might be considering, the sibling that you already have working. If that person is working well, then just your name alone is probably going to be considered. That's life on all levels.
It is. I mean, we love a referral. Who doesn't? Do you know what I'm saying? If someone else has been there, done that, knows the book on it, and can provide you with a shortcut, the information, the key. Hey, I know you need this. This person can give you that so you can cut out all of the guesswork. We like that, right? We like knowing that this person is going to be dependable. We also like knowing there's somebody we can go and holla at if the product, the output isn't what we imagined it to be. But I think that Black nepotism is a good thing. I think we should be for it. And I think sometimes we need to check our reasoning if it's based on the eye test and really what we're seeing, or if it is a tingle in that we aren't quite in that position to do the same for our family. So speaking of questionable decisions and thoughts, Keefe D, he is trying to get this case dismissed. His attorney recently filed a motion saying that Keefe D's constitutional rights were violated due to the 27-year delay in prosecution, that there is a lack of evidence, deceased witnesses, and broken immunity agreements. The motion states the state of Nevada has unjustifiably delayed prosecution, resulting in irreparable harm to the defendant's ability to defend himself. Now, reminder, in 2019, in his memoir, he said that he was in the Cadillac with Orlando Anderson, his nephew that passed away, and said that he was the gunman, right? Attention is a drug. Clout chasing is a drug. And now you are trying to walk it back and talk yourself out of this, and it's a done deal, babe. You rocked out for 27 years, running your mouth, getting fame, going on all the internet shows and anybody that would listen to your story. And now you're upset because people took your story seriously. I don't know. Get it together. So he still remains in the Clark County Detention Center without bail, and we'll see when this case finally happens and what the final outcome is for him, right? So, listen, we have some divorce news, some sad divorce news, a couple of actually couples coming to an end in 2025. Chance the Rapper and his estranged wife, Kristen, have officially reached a settlement in their divorce. According to court documents and TMZ, they finalized their agreement last week and they described it as a fair and equitable resolution. Andy?
I guess he should have never went to Carnival, huh?
I mean, that might have been the thing, but that might have been the cherry. We don't know what was going on in the Sunday before that. Him wilding out at Carnival might have been a symptom of whatever else was going on at home. And I don't mean that as in his wife wasn't taking care of business. I just mean in whatever problems they might have been going through at home. And he felt free and got ahead of himself, wilding out. The two, they began dating in 2013. They got married in 2018. They have 2 daughters. And, Kristen stated that the marriage was irretrievably broken. And she filed for divorce in December of 2024. And here we are a couple of weeks later, waiting for the judge's final approval. Done and done. And in more divorce news, actress Jessica Alba, and Cash Warren. By the way, Cash Warren's dad, Michael Warren, OG actor from Hill Street Blues. We've been talking about Nepo baby stuff, right? I mean, so I just, wanted to put it out there that there's another example of such. At any rate, they are reportedly separating after 16 years of marriage. And they married in 2008. They have 3 children, Honor, who's 16, Haven, who's 13, and Hayes, who's 7. And, Jessica started off in acting, but her corporate business side is taken over. She created Honor Products, which started with diapers and things of that nature for natural care for children, and that brand expanded to a multi-billion-dollar company, which she eventually ended up selling, and she remained on in some type of executive capacity, but received a great deal of money for that. So, wonder if there's a prenup. Not in their business, I'm just saying. It's a lot of coins that they're going to be dividing up. But right now, they are on the outs. They've both been spotted out without their wedding rings. They said that in the past, they've talking about the issues that they have kind of been worked through as far as prioritizing communication and balancing parenthood with, their relationship and their outside business ventures and so forth. So, according to sources, the split is amicable, and, we'll have to see what happens with the monies, because that's a lot of money. That's a big situation in that company. Pretty Brown Mimi in the chat says, wow, Jessica Alba and Cash Warren have separated. Sorry to hear that. I hope they had a prenup. Me too, girl. Me too. Because, not like that. I'm just saying, if we can root for that. Let me back that up. I think everyone getting married should have a prenup. I say that because everybody has interests to protect at some point in time. Now, what goes into it, there can be a conversation. That doesn't mean that, hey, and while we're in this, everything we earn, mine is mine and yours is yours. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but there are some things you might want to talk about and work out. Nobody gets married to get divorced, but just in case, while the love is still pure and fresh, you don't want to wait until you are on bad terms to negotiate those type of things. That's all I'm saying.
That's the problem.
What's that?
That's the problem. You guys are already looking for an out.
You're not looking for an out. You're just protecting your interests.
I understand it, but your mind.
Let me tell you.
Your mind shouldn't even be thinking about that. If you're married, I don't care how horrible it is. Y'all gonna work through it together until somebody dies.
Let me tell you who had that statement, who had that thought process. Jada Pinkett Smith said back in the day that she would have signed whatever prenup Will Smith put in front of her because this is for the long haul. And we see 20 plus years later, throughout all the entanglements and slaps and memoirs and questionable decisions, they're still there holding it down. Now, some people say Will should have left her, right? But they stayed together and followed those vows.
Shout out to them. They got a unique relationship. Shout out to them.
So see, but not everybody is going to have that type of patience. And not everybody is built to go through that type of road. And in the event that it comes to that, you want to have a plan. Listen, when we come forward, you will be hearing the voice of reason, Zoe Williams, coming to dispense his particular brand of advice, logic, and keys to life. These are the things that we love. We appreciate that. Make sure that you are back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. for more entertainment news and pop culture updates with me, Jill Munroe. Thanks for checking us out.
Spread your wings for me. I've been other places.